no. Okay, let's face it. We all know this moment. You're finally in the lead in this race that you've been dying to win, and then suddenly, bang! You just got blue shelled. This shell has been bringing people back to 5th place since 1996, and on rare occasions leaving people at the mercy of the Crazy 8 spammers. Now, obviously you can't have this many blue shells at once after you, unless you're like me, of course. But unfortunately, the blue shell is probably the most hated Mario Kart power-up to exist. So in today's video, we're going to find out why people hate the blue shell so much, but also why it is definitely necessary for Mario Kart 8 to still function. Well, if you're not mad at me for liking the red shell and you're still with me, then let's get started. The first reason people hate the blue shell so much is the most obvious. It takes you out of first. But not only does it take you out of first, it's practically unstoppable. Because of its existence, it is unlikely you'll keep your lead for that long. And for some people, this is incredibly annoying. Now, is this a valid reason? I don't know, I'm not that serious about Mario Kart. What I will say, though, is that if you're trying to get all 3 stars on all cups in 200cc so you can unlock Gold Mario, this can be extremely frustrating, especially with the CPUs. Now, I would like to point out that if you have the air horn along with you, then you can block the blue shell pretty easily. I can also say that if you're on, like, say, the first or second lap and you get hit by a blue shell, you should be able to come back up to first really easily if you really want to get 3 stars on those cups. Almost lost my breath with that one. Now, where this reason becomes valid is where the most common complaint is. If you're in first, blue shells can hit you right before you cross the finish line. Now, of course, if you don't have a super horn, as mentioned earlier, this can also be very frustrating. And I could say that that is kind of unfair, even for Mario Kart. These instances are extremely rare, though. But I could see how that specific instance would be frustrating. Another reason why people hate the blue shell so much is people don't think it does its intended purpose. What is the blue shell's intended purpose exactly? We literally just talked about that. What I'm saying is that the blue shell is supposed to help a person in, say, like 12th place to get up into first. The problem with this is, since the blue shell usually only targets one person, which is the person in first place, it usually only helps the person directly behind the first place player. So in other words, the second or third place player, and occasionally the 4th place player. So really, there is no opportunity at all for someone in 12th place to get up to first just by firing a blue shell. But do either of these reasons really make the blue shell bad? No, of course not. I'm honestly not completely sure why people are even complaining at all. The whole complaint about the 12th place player not being able to get to first place by just firing a blue shell is understandable, but I don't think that's the main purpose of the blue shell. The whole point of the blue shell is to provide a challenge for the person in first place. If the blue shell didn't exist, you could easily go through an entire race being in first place the whole time. The blue shell pretty much forces the first place player to give up his position to prove if he really deserves it, which adds a lot of extra challenge to Mario Kart 8, especially when trying to get 3 stars on every cup, as mentioned earlier. And in my opinion, this may add frustration, but it definitely adds replayability. And by replayability, I mean forcing players to replay the Grand Prix that they just lost. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Real quick, I heard about something funny recently. I've heard that supposedly, if the person in the video says the words like button or subscribe button, then the one that he said will flash. Is this working? Is it flashing? Anyway, if any of them flashed, you must press them. It is YouTube law. I'm just kidding. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But if you like the video, you can subscribe. That would be nice. Seriously, it really helps the channel. Please do it. Press it. I'm warning